Okay, so let's dive into ancient Chinese medicine.
Go.
Specifically, the Yellow Emperor's classic of internal medicine.
Sounds good.
We're going to be focusing on Chapter 8 today.
Okay.
Specifically, the section called The Spiritual Pivot, the Foundation of Spirit.
Okay.
Now, this text is considered like foundational to traditional Chinese medicine, and it offers some really interesting insights into how our emotions and spirit, what they call shen, are deeply connected to our physical health.
It's really about, it's not just about treating symptoms.
Right.
It's about understanding the whole person.
Yeah.
It really delves into the interconnectedness of everything.
Exactly. And right from the start, it introduces us to these 5 treasures that are essential for well-being. And it lists blood vessels, nutritive essence, also known as ying, key essence, which is also called jing, and finally spirit or shen.
What I find fascinating is that these aren't just seen as physical things, like blood coursing through your veins.
Right.
They represent vital energies in this beautiful interplay between your mind and body.
It's not just about keeping our bodies healthy, but our minds and spirits as well.
Exactly. They all work together to create this overall sense of well-being.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got these 5 treasures.
Okay.
But where do they come from?
Right.
Well, the text actually describes their origin story, and it's pretty amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It says, the influence of heaven upon us is virtue, and the influence of earth upon us is Kri.
Oh.
When virtue flows and Kri condenses, life is born. The arrival of life is called essence, jing. The blending of 2 essences, male and female, is called spirit, shen.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Heaven, earth, virtue, key.
Right.
It's almost poetic.
It is. What's powerful about this passage is the idea that we are born from this union of universal forces, that we carry this essence, this jing, which then blends to create our spirit, our shen.
It makes you wonder about that spark of life.
Yeah. That vitality we all crave, perhaps it comes from this connection to something larger than ourselves.
Yeah.
Like the text is suggesting.
It's a thought-provoking concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it raises questions about our place in the universe
Right.
and how we can tap into that sense of connection to cultivate our own well-being.
Definitely. And then things get even more interesting.
Okay.
Because the text introduces the hun and po,
Okay.
which are essentially our ethereal and corporeal souls.
You can think of the hun as being associated with our dreams, aspirations.
Okay.
That part of us that yearns for something beyond the physical world. Whereas the po is more grounded in our physical body instincts and connection to the material world.
So the hun is kind of like our spiritual side, and the po is our earthly side.
Exactly.
2 sides of the same coin in a way.
Exactly. And what I find really intriguing is that these concepts aren't unique to Chinese culture.
Right.
We see similar ideas about a dualistic soul in many different traditions around the world.
It makes you realize that humans have been grappling with these questions about the nature of the soul for centuries.
Yeah.
We're all trying to understand this intangible part of ourselves.
Absolutely. And the Yellow Emperor's Classic offers some pretty profound insights into this mystery.
Yeah.
But it doesn't just talk about the soul in abstract terms.
Okay.
It also provides guidance on how to actually nurture our well-being.
Right. So we have these 5 treasures,
Yes.
the hun and po.
Yeah.
What does the text say about how we can actually live a good life?
You're right.
A life that nourishes all of these aspects of ourselves.
Well, it emphasizes the importance of aligning ourselves with the rhythms of nature,
Okay.
following the seasons, adapting to changes in temperature, finding a sense of peace in our surroundings.
Right.
It also talks about harmonizing our emotions
Okay.
and achieving balance in all aspects of our lives.
It sounds a lot like what we hear today about mindfulness, stress management,
Right.
and living in harmony with our environment.
It's remarkable, isn't it? Even thousands of years ago, they understood that our lifestyle choices and our emotional well-being play a significant role in our overall health.
It's about creating a sense of balance, both internally and externally.
Exactly. And yet the text acknowledges that achieving perfect harmony is a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
It recognizes that we all experience challenges and that our emotions, especially when out of balance, can have a profound impact on our well-being.
That's a good point. We can't always be in a state of perfect zen.
Right.
Life throws curveballs and we feel a whole range of emotions.
Yeah.
And speaking of emotions,
Yes.
the text actually delves into how specific emotions can impact those 5 treasures we were talking about.
Yes, and this is where it gets really fascinating.
Okay.
The text doesn't just say emotions are important.
Right.
It breaks down how each emotion can affect our physical and mental state.
So we're not just talking about feeling good or bad.
Right.
It's about these emotions actually creating imbalances in our bodies and minds.
Precisely. And it gives specific examples.
Oh, wow.
For instance, it says that fear can damage the spirit, potentially leading to physical symptoms like muscle atrophy.
That's incredible. I never would have thought that fear could have such a tangible impact on the body.
Wow.
What about other emotions?
Sure.
What does the text say about them?
Well, it goes through quite a few.
Okay.
It suggests that excessive grief can deplete our vitality.
Wow.
While too much joy can scatter the spirit, worry can block the flow of ki, and anger can disrupt our ability to govern ourselves effectively.
It's like each emotion has its own unique signature
Yeah.
and can create specific imbalances.
It really highlights this intricate connection
Yeah.
between the mental and the physical that traditional Chinese medicine is all about.
Right.
And to understand that connection even better, we need to look at the role of the organs.
Okay. I'm intrigued. How do the organs fit into this whole picture of emotions and the five treasures?
Well, the text emphasizes the 5 zang organs:
Okay.
the heart, spleen, liver, lungs, and kidneys.
Okay.
It calls them the guardians and storehouses of the 5 treasures.
Okay.
Each organ has a specific relationship with one of these treasures.
So it's not just about treating one isolated problem.
Right.
It's about understanding the whole system and how everything interacts.
That's a great way to put it. We're going to delve into the details of each organ and its relationship with the 5 treasures in the next part of our deep dive.
I can't wait to hear more.
Great.
It's amazing how much wisdom is packed into this ancient text.
I know, it's really cool.
All right, so we're back, and I'm ready to hear more about these fascinating zang organs
Okay.
and their connection to the 5 treasures.
Right.
This whole concept of the organs being guardians is really intriguing.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It speaks to this beautiful interconnectedness within our bodies
Mm-hmm.
and how each organ plays a crucial role in maintaining our overall well-being.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Okay.
Which organ is responsible for which treasure?
Well, we can start with the liver,
Okay.
which is considered the primary storage site for blood.
Okay.
Now, blood, as we discussed, houses the hun, that ethereal soul responsible for our dreams and aspirations.
So if someone is feeling a bit lost or lacking direction in life, could that be a sign of an imbalance in the liver?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
And it's certainly possible.
Okay.
While it's not always a direct correlation, the Yellow Emperor's Classic suggests that when liver qi is deficient, it can manifest as fear or anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, excessive liver qi might show up as anger or irritability.
So it's not just about physical symptoms, it's about how these imbalances can impact our emotional and mental states as well.
Exactly. And remember, everything is interconnected.
Right.
So if the liver isn't functioning optimally, it can create a ripple effect throughout the entire system, impacting other organs and treasures.
That makes sense. Okay, what about the spleen?
Okay.
What's its role in all of this?
The spleen is a fascinating one.
Okay.
It's responsible for storing yin, which is the nutritive qi.
Okay.
And this yin is said to house our ying, our intention.
Yeah. What exactly does that mean?
Think of yi as the force behind your focus,
Okay.
your ability to make decisions, to plan and carry out your goals.
Mm-hmm.
It's that mental clarity and drive that allows you to move forward in life with purpose.
So a healthy spleen is crucial for feeling mentally sharp
Yeah.
and having a strong sense of direction.
You could say that.
Okay.
The spleen is like the anchor for our mental processes.
Yeah.
But of course, imbalances can occur here as well.
Right.
The text suggests that when spleen qi is deficient, you might experience weakness, fatigue, even digestive issues.
So those mid-afternoon slumps could be more than just needing another cup of coffee.
It's certainly possible.
Wow.
And it's important to remember that in traditional Chinese medicine, it's not just about addressing the symptom, but understanding the root cause of the imbalance.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's move on to the heart.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's all about love and emotions, right?
Well, you're not entirely wrong.
Okay.
The heart, according to the Yellow Emperor's Classic, stores the vessels. And those vessels are the home of the shen, our spirit.
Ah, so this is where that vital spark we were talking about earlier comes in.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about feeling truly alive, connected to ourselves and the world around us.
Hmm.
But of course, like all the other organs, the heart can also experience imbalances.
And what kind of impact would those imbalances have on us?
Well, if there's a deficiency in heart current, you might notice feelings of sadness,
Okay.
lack of joy or difficulty sleeping.
So a heavy heart can actually be a sign of an imbalance in the heart organ itself.
It is.
That's fascinating.
And on the flip side, if heart qi is excessive,
Right.
it might manifest as restlessness, anxiety, or even inappropriate laughter.
So balance is key, as with everything.
Right.
Got it. Okay, we've covered the liver, spleen, and heart. What about the lungs? How do they fit into all of this?
The lungs, as you might imagine, are deeply connected to the breath.
Yeah.
And the breath in traditional Chinese medicine is seen as the carrier of qi.
That makes sense. We need breath to live, and qi is this vital energy that flows through us.
Exactly. The lungs are responsible for taking in fresh qi from the air and distributing it throughout the body.
Okay.
And this qi, which is housed in the lungs,
Right.
is connected to the po, the corporeal soul we discussed earlier.
Okay, so remind me, what exactly is the po again?
The po is that aspect of our being that is grounded in the physical world.
Okay.
Our instincts, our connection to the material realm.
So in a way, the lungs are helping us stay grounded.
Yeah.
Literally anchoring us to our physical selves.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
They're providing us with the breath of life, which in turn nourishes the po and allows us to engage with the world around us.
I like that it makes you appreciate the simple act of breathing in a whole new way.
It really does.
Yeah.
But just like with the other organs, imbalances in the lungs can occur.
Right.
The text suggests that when lung qi is deficient, it can lead to shortness of breath, a weakened immune system, and a feeling of disconnection.
So those who practice deep breathing exercises might actually be strengthening their lungs and nourishing their po at the same time.
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
And it highlights how these ancient principles can be applied to modern-day practices for well-being.
Okay, we've got one more organ to cover, the kidneys.
Right.
What's their special role?
The kidneys are seen as the storehouse of jing,
Okay.
which is considered our essence, the foundation of our vitality, and the root of our willpower, or zhi.
So the kidneys are all about strength, resilience, and determination.
That's a great way to summarize it.
Okay.
They hold the blueprint for our physical and mental stamina, our ability to persevere through challenges.
That's a pretty powerful responsibility.
It is, and because the kidneys are responsible for jing, they are also seen as the root of our growth and development throughout our lives.
So taking care of our kidneys is essential for healthy aging
Yes.
and maintaining our vitality as we get older.
Precisely. But of course, like all the other organs, the kidneys can experience imbalances.
What are some signs that the kidneys might be out of balance?
Well, the text suggests that a deficiency in kidney qi can manifest as fatigue, lower back pain, or even ringing in the ears. And an excess of kidney qi can lead to urinary issues or a feeling of heat in the body.
Wow. It's really incredible how each organ has such a specific and vital role to play in maintaining our overall well-being.
It is.
It makes you realize how interconnected everything truly is.
It really does. And it brings us back to that central idea in traditional Chinese medicine,
Right?
that it's not just about treating isolated symptoms, but about understanding the whole person and working to restore harmony and balance within the entire system.
Welcome back. It's amazing how much we've already uncovered about the Yellow Emperor's classic and its insights into well-being. We've talked about these 5 treasures, the hun and po, and how each organ acts as a guardian for these treasures.
It really highlights a different way of thinking about health, doesn't it? It's not just about treating the physical body,
Right.
but also understanding the energetic and spiritual aspects of ourselves.
Absolutely. And we've also talked about how our emotions can have a direct impact on these organs and treasures. But here's a question that I've been pondering. If our emotions can create imbalances, can we also use them to heal and strengthen ourselves?
That's a great question, and one that I think the Yellow Emperor's classic speaks to in a subtle but profound way. While the text doesn't provide an explicit guidebook for emotional cultivation, it does suggest that harmonizing our emotions is just as important as balancing our physical bodies.
So it's not just about avoiding negative emotion,
Right.
but actively cultivating positive ones.
Exactly. It's about creating an inner environment that supports well-being on all levels.
Okay.
And I think this idea ties back to those principles of nurturing life that we discussed earlier. Aligning ourselves with the rhythms of nature, finding peace in our surroundings, and cultivating a sense of balance in our lives.
So it's about more than just trying to force ourselves to feel happy all the time.
Right.
It's about living in a way that naturally supports emotional balance.
I think that's a really important point. It's not about denying our emotions or trying to suppress them.
Yeah.
It's about understanding them, acknowledging them,
Right.
and then choosing how we want to respond to them.
That makes a lot of sense. So in a way, we have more agency over our emotional well-being than we might realize.
Absolutely. We're not just victims of our emotions.
Right.
We can learn to work with them in a way that promotes balance and harmony.
Okay, I like that it's empowering to think that we can actively cultivate our emotional well-being.
Hmm.
But are there any specific practices that the Yellow Emperor's Classic recommends?
Well, while it doesn't go into a lot of detail, the text does emphasize the importance of mindful awareness.
Okay.
For instance, it talks about how fear can damage the spirit,
Mm-hmm.
particularly if we dwell on anxieties and let them consume us.
So perhaps it's about noticing those negative thought patterns and choosing to shift our focus to something more positive.
That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating a sense of presence, being aware of our thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them, and then consciously choosing to direct our attention toward what nourishes us rather than what depletes us.
It's like we're training our minds to focus on the good, to
Yeah.
cultivate a more positive outlook.
In essence, yes. And by doing so, we can create a more balanced and harmonious inner landscape.
This has been such an eye-opening journey into the wisdom of the Yellow Emperor's Classic. We've learned about the five treasures, the hun and po, the crucial roles of the organs, and the powerful connection between our emotions and our physical well-being.
It's amazing how much insight this ancient text offers. And I think the key takeaway is that we are complex beings with interconnected physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects. Nurturing our well-being means addressing all of these aspects, not just treating symptoms in isolation.
Beautifully said. And if our listeners are as fascinated by this ancient wisdom as we are, I highly recommend diving into the Yellow Emperor's Classic for themselves. There's so much to discover within its pages.
It's a treasure trove of insights that are just as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up our deep dive, what's one final thought you'd like to leave our listeners with?
If you take away just one thing from our exploration, let it be this. You are not just a collection of physical parts. You are a complex, interconnected being with the power to heal and thrive. Embrace that power, nurture all aspects of yourself, and embark on your own journey toward greater well-being.
That's a beautiful message to end on. Thanks for taking us on this incredible deep dive into the wisdom of the Yellow Emperor's Classic.
It's been my pleasure.
And for all of you listening, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What resonated with you? What questions came up for you? Connect with us on social media, and let's continue the conversation until next time. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those five treasures shining bright.